Hello, cruel. Why can't I say that fucking word today? I give up. This is like 10th take on that one, and I just can't say that word. So, yeah, it's a cruel. Fuck. Why is that one so hard for me? All of a sudden, didn't have a problem in the last video, or maybe I didn't, just didn't notice it. Anyway, so, continuing with driving around Lake Tahoe, we are in Incline Village, and we are on episode 2 of Batshit Crazy Woman Driver. And in the previous video, I explained who I am and why shit is the way that it is when I say it. So when I start telling the story of my life, and it'll make a little bit more sense because it all links into the infinite hell loop, and there's a picture of that on Facebook, and how to follow along with how my logic works, because it's not normal the way that I see things anymore, and that's because I have the craziest fucking guardian angel on the planet, and so I have a great connection with my guardian angel, and it allowed me to see with my gifts, so to speak, from my 3 wise men. It allowed me to see things in his way. So when I say now that we know why I am the way that I am, we do have to go back to the beginning. And where is the beginning? Well, if you think about that infinite hell loop, I always say that you start with the second dot, because something always happens. The first dot is not the beginning of your life, because there's something that always comes up that takes you back even further in history. And so I always say start with the second dot at least. And because it is, of course, an infinite hell loop, and it just continues on in that same kind of format, only the hell loops of one aspect of your life can start intertwining with another aspect of another hell loop in a different part of your life. Like your family hell loop could start interfering with your love life hell loop or your work life hell loop, but they all end up intertwining at some point in time, creating this giant twisted web of messy knots, and trying to untwist it is very difficult. But if you didn't see the sign, sorry, while we're driving, the bus was blocking the Welcome to California sign, so we just hit California. But anyway, so we have that giant twisted knot, and the saying has always been hindsight is 20/20, and of course that referred to the vision that you can see things clearly when you look at them, when you look at the past. And of course, in my twisted logic, hindsight is not only a clear vision of the past, but also 2020 isn't the year, and right now everything is super clear to me, and both vision wise and the year, as hell as it's been, in my eyes it makes total sense, and that's kind of scary, because it took that twisted infinite hell loop in every fucking direction, and I had to untangle it. And to do it, and why not do it in a fun way? So today we're going to drive around Lake Tahoe, and tomorrow I have to come to Lake Tahoe again for court, and so we'll probably drive around Lake Tahoe a couple times tomorrow. But I have to come to Tahoe, as I mentioned, for court because I was arrested for not wearing a face mask because it's against my religion and it violates my disability, and I can't wear it because of my disability and scientific research. There's just so many reasons why I won't wear a face mask, not just for my own health reasons and my own disability reasons, but religious reasons. And the fact that I trust my immune system, and I trust God to protect me. And that's something that a lot of people apparently don't believe. And that gets complicated, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. I'll get into that later. We're trying to tell a history lesson, and so we'll try to stay on point. I'm very bad at that, I admit it. Because I follow the direction of whatever that infinite hell loop is leading me, and what path. And so my mind tends to get off course of whatever topic I was on and follow the hell loop of the other topic that it brings us up to. So it's complicated, I know. It makes sense in my mind, and when you understand me as a person, it will start to make sense as we go along, if you continue to follow along. So anyhow, like I was saying, in that hell loop, there's always a point that you can go back to in the past that you don't always know how far back it goes. So you think you're at the very end, and then you realize, oh shit, I need to go back even further to the very beginning. But where is the very beginning? Where does it start? In my case, I started thinking, okay, well, where do I want to start with my story? Do I want to start with December 11th, my birthday? No, because that's not where it started. As I kind of started to follow my own logic of where to go, nope, I need to go back further than that. I'm like, okay, well, shit happened just recently where I was told a story. Do I need to start with that story? And that was March 11th of 1971, I think. And then, nope, that was, I need to go back even further. And again, it didn't make sense to, I mean, it makes sense to me now when I look at it, of how far back I need to go, but it's actually really funny, and goes back to that whole psychic clairvoyant and my guardian angel and my other psychic abilities. And I don't always believe everything that I'm told by my homies, as I call them, or my wise men, or my spiritual guides, or whatever you want to refer to them as. curveball into my life, and Lucifer had to figure out how to save me from that. And so when I say we go back to the beginning of my guardian angel, Lucifer, of course, originally started off as an angel, and he was cast out of heaven because he didn't know how to love. And so, and it wasn't just, he was a troublemaker, essentially, as we all know. But the biggest problem that God had was that he didn't know how to love. He couldn't love others, but he did love, he just didn't know completely, he didn't love himself, so he couldn't truly love another. And so throughout time, he ended up getting cast out of heaven and punished by God, as everybody knows. And I mean, okay, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people know that the history of Lucifer, or Satan, among other names. There's so many to keep up with, so we're just going to keep up with Lucifer, or Lou, because again, that's just more fun. And again, even less threatening than Satan and Lucifer himself. So my BFMF Lou is what I was calling him at one point in time, and that's my best fucking male friend, is what that stands for. When I originally started talking about the three wise men, essentially Jesus, and they all have nicknames because it was more fun, and it's something me and my family do. It's usually my children that give the best nicknames. So like I mentioned, my oldest daughter actually came up with Lucy. And then there's also Justin. We can't leave him out of the picture. My first real ghost that I talked to, essentially. And so Jessica referred to him as, asked him, can I call you the ghostess with the mostest? And that kind of stuck for us jokingly as well, even though the spirits actually prefer spirit, not ghost. But that's another story too. So we have the ghostess with the mostest, Justin. We have my best fucking male friend, Lou. We have Mr. Higher Power, God himself, when he joins the picture, or MHP, because we all abbreviate everything now. And then we have Jesus. And Jesus is the funny one. We call him PS because originally I forgot about him. And that was oh yeah, PS, there's this dude too. And we decided that actually stood for not just the fact that I forgot about him, but the perfect son is PS, because of course that is what we all think of when we think of Jesus, as he was God's perfect son, right? And versus Lucifer, the naughty one. And ultimately, for centuries, Jesus and Lucifer have been in a quote-unquote love triangle, is what I was told when I first started getting my gifts after Justin's death. When I first started hearing the voices, tempted Adam and Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. And when, at that point, I've learned how that tempting and how that temptation works. And it works with the twisted Lucifer logic, or the twisted Satan logic. And now I have been able to untangle somewhat his twisted logic. It just doesn't always make sense at first until it happens. So I still don't know everything when it comes to the psychic of, I just know some things he still likes to twist in wordplay and making words mean different things, because of course so many words have so many different meanings, like the purge, like I had mentioned before. So anyway, when a lot of angels fell to earth, it got complicated in the whole heaven and hell aspect of it. And I, again, don't know all of it and what exactly it means, but I do know that the phrase hell on earth, whew, it really is what we're looking at right now. And so, is life and living hell? Or is hell truly something where you're tortured for all eternity? And it's kind of weird and hard to explain, because it's been twisted both ways for me. And it started off with, okay, well, you are a bad person in life, but that means that you go to hell, right? And essentially your soul is tortured. But there's different things when it comes to souls, and then I've mentioned spirits as well. So essentially, those fallen angels and everyone that originally fell to earth are the ones that are tortured, quote unquote, in hell. And they are all given spirits to guide. And so what I mean by that is, for example, the spirit of Jesus, a person that was put on the earth, and the angels then get to guide them, the guardian angels, right? And they're referred to as the archangels, of course, when they're referred to in the Bible. And there's references to a few of them, not all, but there are references, of course, to the archangels. And they all have different abilities and things, and what they can help with. And essentially, the guardian angels all have their spirits that they get to play with on earth. And game progressed through Sims 1, 2, 3, and 4, and SimCity, and same thing. As the game progressed through Sims itself, the Sims gained free will, and more free will that they can do what they wanted and not what you were guiding them to actually do. And so it is essentially like the guardian angels, and the easiest way to explain it with the way God looks at it. And basically someone above us controlling our lives and guiding us to do certain things, but we could, in that infinite hell loop, say, no, I don't want to follow that well-lit path that you just laid out for me.